Guys, what's going on? It is 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and that means it's time for Proper Royals Live. Stick around tonight. We got Dale Richards from Constricted Reptiles down. I think he's in DeLand, Florida, but somewhere right around Daytona, between Daytona and Orlando. We'll find out for sure. But Dale Richards, Constricted Reptiles, stick around tonight. We got a killer show. He'll be on in just a moment. He's waiting in the green room. Well, I'll let you all know what's going on. If you haven't joined us before, I do this live show every Tuesday night. And I hope some of Dale's viewers from Instagram are maybe over here. Or if you're a new subscriber on my Instagram account, I appreciate you checking it out tonight. We do a ball python show every week, usually 60 to 90 minutes. I don't go very long, but keep the content focused on ball pythons. We are allowed to talk about snakes here, and we do. So we keep it mostly focused on ball pythons, but certainly the business of it, breeding end of it, collecting end, and we got a cool community here. I promise you, it's the best audience on the web when it comes to ball python shows. And I mean that proudly, but also gratefully, man. I'm full of gratitude on that. Thursday, I got a new video coming out. It's going to be about trying to run a sustainable operation. Like, what can I do better in my operation to better look out for both the ecology, but also my economy, make it sustainable economically and ecologically. So that's going to come out on Thursday. Maybe I'll pick Dale's brain on that tonight. Next week, really intriguing guest. I want you guys to check this out. It's a gentleman named Ryan, and he's from Spartan Pythons. Now, Spartan Pythons is a relatively small channel, and but he's making some waves. He's spending some big money on his investments. But check this out. Spartan Pythons has 50,000 YouTube subscribers, Ryan does, on his other YouTube channel. 50,000. That's like Chris Hardwick numbers. That's like more than, I think it's Justin numbers. I mean, it's just huge. It's 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, not Instagram. Ryan, as well as being a ball python breeder, is one of the leading cannabis or marijuana growers. And if you're wondering, whoa, Adam, that's a sideways turn from where you usually go. It is, but I wonder if the ball python hobby and the ball python lobby, when it comes to the laws that we're facing right now and the challenges we're facing, if we could learn something from the marijuana and cannabis lobby and what they went through over the past 20 years. So what a cool show next week. Make sure that you check that out. That is going to be May 24th, Ryan from Spartan Pythons. So we'll talk ball pythons, and we're going to talk what we can learn from the marijuana and cannabis industry. So I think it's pretty cool. I do not have a sponsor lined up for it. If you want to get your brand out there and reach a huge audience, I think that's going to be a big show. Get in contact with me, LinkTree down below, or you can just email me at properroyals@gmail.com. 18 people out of the gate. Thank you all for being here. I see, look, if you haven't been here before, I'm not great about all the shout outs and the air horns. And, you know, I'm not a great like hype man MC. So bear with me. But if I see new people, I try and say, hey, Eric's Morph Factory. I don't think I've seen you before. Thank you so much for being here, brother. Jeremy Baud's in the house tonight. Looking forward to your insights. Tito, what's going on? Tradesman, hey, those of y'all in the North Florida, Jacksonville area, I don't know what Tito's supplies are like, but Tradesman is he's a great ball python breeder and other reptiles, but he is a great supplier of my live rodents. Killer service, killer price. Tito, thank you very much. Check him out if you're in North Florida, guys. Kike, how you doing tonight? I think you were first in. Jeremy Warfels, you've been killing it on your guests, Jeremy. Man, you're making me jealous. If you didn't see it, Jeremy Warfels had JD from JD Constriction on his show last week, earlier this Sunday night, 2 nights ago. Man, the days go by. What a good dude for the industry, man. I sent him a note the next day just saying thanks for doing the show and sharing his insight. We ended up talking for about a half hour, man. They're really cool, man. Thanks for having him on. Forward Motion Reptiles. You say usually you have to catch the replay, but with the new schedule, you can listen while you're here at work. I haven't seen you on the live before. Thank you for being here tonight. I really, really appreciate it. And then the usual crowd. Guys, I can't go through every one of you, but you know that I love you. I appreciate you being here. I learned so much, and like I say, it truly is the best audience. Moon over Miami, how you been, man? It's been a long time. I hope that you're well. I hope your family's well. I don't want to get too specific, but I know. Anyhow, I hope everything's okay, man. Good to see you all again. Mainly Morphs, what's up? Thanks for being here. All right, let's get on to the content. You don't tune in to just hear me do shout outs. Am I right? Like that does that get a little old? I don't know. Let's get down to the content. Dale Richards, Constricted Reptiles, is my guest tonight. We're going to learn all about him, and I'll let him tell his story rather than it's kind of weird to give a bio of somebody who's sitting here listening. Let's just bring Dale on, and we'll get to the show. All right, here's Dale. Dale, how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, thanks.
Hey, thank you so much for being here, man.
Yeah, no problem. For having me.
I got to tell you, it was like it was a real cool moment. And I hope I could share it. I know I could share it. It's nothing crazy. But for my show, I always try and bring on people that there's some sort of connection or like aha moment or something interesting. Like you can't just email and be like, hey, I'll be on your show. And I'm like, all right, I'll be there next week kind of thing. That's not usually not how I like to do it. So I like to have a connection. But I was at Repticon in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm from Jacksonville here. And I'm walking around with my son, 9-year-old son. And I just hear somebody go, hey, I watch your show sometimes. I listen while I'm cleaning. And I look, and it's freaking Dale. And it's Constricted Reptiles. And if you haven't been to the Jacksonville Repticon, it's a smaller show, but I think, and I'll get Dale's opinion. He can speak freely for himself. But I think it's a tougher show. I think it doesn't attract a whole lot of people. It's up on the same weekend that the Atlanta show is. So like Steve from Steve's Morphs, he was up in Atlanta that weekend rather than coming. George MD took the weekend off. Jeremy Bod wasn't there. Jeremy, what are you doing, man? Come up. So, you know, we were just talking, but Dale was easily top 2, and I think top breeder that was there that day. And I think Dale probably caught on pretty quick. I really wasn't there to purchase that day, but we spent a lot of time with my son, and I just really appreciate it. It meant a lot, man, and it didn't feel forced, and I just get the feeling like that's who you are, and I appreciated it. It was a cool compliment, but it was way cooler to see that you entertained me and my son and let us look through and ask questions and just learn and be snake guys, you know, without it being transactional, no promise of money kind of thing. You know, it was cool. I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem. That's
what
we're there for. I mean, it's always nice to make the money, but we're just there to hang out and talk. So
yeah. And how did those? So one of the topics tonight that I was going to cover was vending shows. Like, so I play music professionally, and like if I'm playing a festival or something, man, it's sit around and wait forever, and then you go for like 45 minutes, and then you sit around and wait again forever. I feel like there must be a part of that with the shows. How do you? What's kind of the rhythm of the show days?
Well, I mean, not so much. I mean, you get there and you're going crazy trying to get set up and get ready and everything.
Okay.
Hopefully to be able to walk around before everybody comes in and see what's there and stuff like that. And then kind of towards the middle, it's the depending. Like on the show and everything, it's maybe sit around and wait type thing. So we obviously got people coming by, but a lot of the people they're not there to buy. They're not serious. Like a lot of them are real, like new to the hobby. They don't even really know like what the animals actually are.
Yeah.
Like they ask a bunch of questions. So you talk to them and you kind of get a feel, but a lot of them, they're just there to look. So it's a lot of waiting in the middle, honestly.
Yeah. What's the balance at not like Daytona or Arlington or Tinley or whatever, but a typical neighborhood show? What's the balance of like, I don't mean it derogatory, but newbie pet owners versus, say a breeder kind of thing?
It kind of depends on the show.
Yeah.
Your Orlando's about, I don't know, closer to probably 40% serious, like to an extent. Jacksonville's a little less.
Yeah.
Tampa is probably 40 to 50 maybe. And then some of your other shows, like I actually did my first show me uh, reptile show, snake show,
Mm-hmm.
past weekend, and the guests were a lot of it's a kind of a touristy area, so they were very like tourist people. Most of them didn't know what they were.
Oh, really? Where was that at?
It was right on I Drive in Orlando.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're talking total like.
Yeah.
What
But
are
it
we
turned
gonna
out
do
to be a pretty good show. I mean, between other vendors and whatnot, small, but it was good, so it was worth it.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that because you get like neighborhoods or areas and cities. You're right. On I Drive, man, nobody's there. If you live in Orlando, you don't go to I Drive, right? Like
exactly. That's my first time, I think, ever being in that area. I know it's my first time ever being in that area. I've been on I Drive before, but I was like, oh, well, there's Ripley's, believe it or not, and
I always say there's no soul there. Everything is plastic. There's nothing real. Nobody lives there because it's all transient. It's all tourists in and out. There's no soul to I Drive whatsoever.
Yeah, so they had handed out flyers in that area, so that was the people, and it was a nice venue, and I would do it again.
Yeah,
because it turned out all right, but it was in a hotel right there, so a lot of your people didn't really know what was going on. They were just there, like, because if you were in a hotel, wouldn't you stop by? If there was
like you've had enough of Mickey, you're hungover, you've had your Bob Evans for breakfast, and what else are you gonna do? You're gonna
exactly bring the kids to look at some reptiles. It's kind of like an attraction, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean,
I would do it. So,
what's the what are kind of something that's always made me wonder is what are the logistics? And I know you don't have to go crazy on it, but like, do you keep sort of a traveling inventory of animals separate from your regular inventory? Do you pack them back into their regular? I'm assuming you use tubs. You must, but do you pack them back into your tubs every show, or they kind of live in their travel tubs, or how does that work, man?
No, they're all in racks. So I mean, it's a full day, just about like an 8-hour day, roughly, getting everything set up for the show. So depending on where it is, Thursday or Friday is basically packing the animals and labeling and all that type of stuff. And then depending on where the show is, either Sunday when you get back from the show is setting everything back up.
So that's a long day, man. Oh, you're traveling and then unpacking and unloading.
And or like when I do out of state shows, it's usually because if I do like a North Carolina or a Georgia or something like that, you're obviously not getting back in until 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Straight through. So then it's a Monday morning, putting everything away and getting everything set back up.
Yeah. And how many shows a year? Like how many shows will you do this year? Roughly. 10.
I do Orlando. So for Repticons, Orlando's 4 times a year, Jacksonville's 4 times a year, Tampa's 4 times a year, and then Daytona and the other random shows. So I don't necessarily do them 4 times a year, but I also do Raleigh and Charlotte and it's been like 2 years, but Atlanta. So and then
you're talking 15 to 20 shows a year.
Has a 1-day show and stuff like that. So it's right in my backyard. So why wouldn't I do it?
Right. So that's once or twice a month. You're packing up, unpacking, going through all that. Do you ever get like how big of a concern is any sort of for lack of a better word, disease or sickness among other animals or animals that other people bring? How much does that bother you?
I try and do the best I can to keep that away. Obviously, you can kind of, and it kind of sucks because you want to kind of let the people know, like the pet people to come in. They're like, "Oh, can I hold this? Can I hold this? Can I hold this?" They've been at 10 other people's tables holding their stuff. So
Yeah.
I kind of try and usually deter that and be like, well, if you're interested in buying the animal, then you can hold it, but for like disease and mite purposes, obviously,
Yeah.
it's safer for the animal to not be messed with if you're just looking to hold an animal.
Right.
So, and I mean, there's usually people there that will just they're there for that reason almost. Like, so it's not like they can't go somewhere and hold an animal.
That's true. That's true.
But
Sometimes it's just the simplest answer. Yeah, you're right about that, man.
but yeah, so I mean, it's not to mention I'm usually by myself, and like you saw at that show, I have 8 tables at some shows, with all the dry goods stuff. So some shows are crazy packed, so I can't be standing there letting a bunch of people hold an animal while I'm trying over here making up heat tape and got 5 other customers waiting on me to buy a hook or to buy this or to buy that. So
Right. You know, I was going to ask. So, talk about your revenue model. If I understand it right, you got it. Or I'll let you talk about it. You got your live animals and your dry goods. So you talk about that a little bit.
So the live animals are mine, and when I went full time at this, it was actually through George that this came about, but he was friends with Eric, and Eric was looking for somebody to distribute his dry goods because he's out of Ohio. So he was looking for somebody to kind of be his distributor for this area because he would come down once or twice a year. He does Daytona, and sometimes he would come down for Orlando or Tampa or whatever. But he was looking for somebody to take over that for him down here. And
I'm sorry, before we go too far, so George is George MD, EMDE, killer breeder in the area. And I know him a little bit, but not great. But
yeah, he's a great guy.
Initial impression, yeah, totally great guy. Absolutely just welcomed me, not knowing me at all. I guess his niece that he vends with was like, oh, it's same thing. Oh, that guy's got a channel. And he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, and then to his Lizzie, I think her name is, I said, hey, you want to film a video then? We'll just film right here. And by the end of it, you know, I ended up buying a snake from him and then saw him in Jacksonville after. And we keep up. He's just a killer dude. So George introduces you to this guy, Eric. And who's Eric?
Eric, his company, he doesn't really advertise like on, you ain't going to find him on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere really. He just basically does the shows, but it's reptile tubs. So if you ever see reptile tubs on any of the Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, he books our tables. So it's under his, but I put my animals out. So the animals are mine and then the dry goods are his. So I make a portion off of whatever I sell for that.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of how that works.
Okay. And did you, I think you told me in person, you've been with George MD a lot. So do you guys split real estate and costs kind of deal? Or I mean, can you talk about that?
So the table, so we have 8 tables basically. And Eric books them. And then the shows that George vends, George takes 2 of them.
Okay.
So then I have 6 and he has the 2. So pretty much every Orlando and Tampa, George will be at. The Jacksonville's are hit or miss. It kind of depends on his work schedule.
Right.
And then we set up together at Daytona, but that'll be separate. It's not under the same. So he has his and I have mine, but we're all right there in the same kind of little circle.
Yeah. Do you find that, like, set aside Daytona because everything at Daytona is amazing, but in another setting, if you and George got your icons up there, I mean, does that just bring more people, more magnetizing to that area? I mean, is that proven benefit? I guess it's proven beneficial because you're doing it still.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think of like myself as anything like at a show or anything like that. So it's, I mean, if that's what you're getting at, like.
No, I mean, well, okay, so put it this way. At Jacksonville, it was evident. There was maybe.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of people at Jacksonville.
Right. There was maybe like immediately visible, there were maybe 4 like what I would call pros, and
Right.
and then most I don't know. That was my impression as a consumer, not calling anybody out.
No, I get that. I mean, and yeah, that's kind of, you kind of know the people who have a presentation and the people who are just kind of don't.
Yeah, well, and I think it's got to be. I mean, it's got to be cool and fun for if that's just their hobby. Of they got 20, 30 snakes and they're breeding, and that's their big thing quarterly to bang out some sales. I mean, that's got to be. But that's sort of more the flea market model than the professional sales model.
Yeah, but everybody's got to start somewhere. I mean,
yeah.
when I first started, I did like 1 show a year basically. I did Orlando. I think it was I did Orlando. Anyway, I would do like the December show, and I only had a couple clutches a year. So, and this was, I shouldn't say this is when I first started, but this is when I switched over to kind of ball pythons. So I would do the December show, and then whatever I didn't sell, I would wholesale to one of the bigger guys.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That was the end of my year, and then I would start over again.
What year was that? Ish. I mean, that was pre-morph market, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I kind of try to go. My memory is so bad with dates. I kind of try to go back and look at some of like pictures and stuff to try and earmark like some of this type of stuff. But I think I started, and when I say started, I mean I think that's when I've got like my original. I had a boa before that. I had a boa back when I was 18 that was kind of gifted to me, and that's kind of how I ran into the corn snakes when I was there buying food. And I walked by some corn snakes, and they were like fluorescent orange and gray, and I was like, what? So that was kind of what sparked that. But I think that was, from what I looked back, I think it was 2006, roughly, and then bred those for a couple of years, and then kind of transitioned, started seeing the ball pythons, and I think ball pythons were like 2011, I think.
Okay.
Is when I kind of started to get a couple, and I think 2012 I took like a credit card to Daytona and bought a couple females and spent like $1,200 like on a couple females, and that was kind of my start there. So.
And when was like the official, like when was like full time? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm in it, kind of thing.
I mean, I kind of knew even back. So when I first started getting into ball pythons, I kind of knew I wanted to try and do this as a business, not necessarily full time, but at least as like a partial income, because I was propagating plants at the same time.
Okay.
So like from the beginning, I kind of knew that I wanted to either do something with animals or plants or something like that. So I remember one year, it was before I ever vended, back when I was doing corn snakes. I sold enough of these sago palms, and I was like, oh crap, Daytona's in town this weekend. So I ran over there on Sunday and I brought a female corn snake. Like, so, but anyways, full time, I think was 2016.
Yeah.
2016.
Cool. So 6 years and you're here. You're still here, man. Congratulations. Yep. That's awesome. I mean, seriously, that is like, that's cool. Anyway, I think it's really cool. When, like, what kind of, and I don't mean quality as in like, I'm sure your animals are healthy, but what level of like genes were you working with? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what level of sales were you able to get without getting too specific or prying? When was it like clicking where you're just like, wow, okay, I'm on my way now, man?
It was a lot different back then. So, I mean, I picked up a blue eye leucistic kind of early because that was like one of the cool things back then. That's what I wanted to make. But I think kind of when things started turning, honestly, again, I went back and looked at some of this stuff because I'm trying to remember dates. I bought a GHI yellow belly male from George, and I think that was kind of what set my like Instagram off, and I made some really cool stuff with that after the fact, and it made a big difference. And what was it?
And
I think
so,
it was the end of 2014, I think, like that I picked up that animal. So probably 2015 when he started making stuff.
yeah. And were you on Instagram that early with the snakes?
Yes.
Wow.
I
Okay.
think so.
All right. So that's one way to get to 26,000 followers on Instagram is longevity and continuity, huh?
She's gonna fact check me and see what
Okay, cool.
I got on Instagram. I don't think I didn't look at that one.
You weren't writing your autobiography at the time?
I went through and I kind of bookmarked some stuff because the other shows that I've done, I was like, yeah, I have no idea what year that was. Like, so I kind of hit some of those points that I thought would possibly be brought up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember exactly what year that was. But I want to say I was on there in 2014. So
that's great, man. I was way behind. I think I've been on Instagram 3 months now, so I'm
oh yeah. You should have got on there early. It's hard to get in the algorithm now. I don't understand the algorithm at all, but it was much easier to get followers back in the day.
Yeah, well, and I'm seeing now too, though. I mean, even versus so YouTube, I've been at for 2 years, and YouTube's a real grind, and so Instagram is much more like immediately gratifying than YouTube, but YouTube seems to build deeper connections or closer connections, or
Instagram's all about the reels and all that stuff, and I probably should, but I don't do reels.
Let me tell you, after filming YouTube videos, reels are like heaven. I filmed 5 reels.
I don't do YouTube either, so
I know, but it's all relative.
Video, I guess. Like I like to watch it, but I don't like to do it.
Yeah. No, so I jumped in. I jumped in on YouTube because I figured I had to figure out some way to differentiate myself at some point. But also, it was the middle of COVID. I was in a rough space in my head. I was working in restaurants. 25 years I've been in restaurants, and COVID came around, man.
Yeah, that wasn't a good year for that.
No. So, I mean, between restaurants and live music that I've always been a performer, I mean, COVID just totally gutted me, man. And I just receded into the basement and just I didn't want anything to do with anybody, man. I was just it wasn't it was a really tough time, and I just happened to get into ball pythons at the time, and then I was like, screw it, I'm going to learn some YouTube. I'm going to figure out this YouTube because I do think clearly now social media is the advertising mechanism of the future.
Oh, yeah.
And my day job is working for a resort that still does print flyers and billboards. And I'm like, guys, take all that money and hire the brightest, youngest, forward-thinking kid that you can, and build a community. And that's what's been cool. And that's what's been cool about this show. It's been cool about running into folks like you and all of that. So that's kind of my thing.
Like I told you, I love to listen to them and while I'm cleaning and whatever, or what. Like occasionally I'll watch obviously Justin's and stuff when it comes out and stuff, but I don't have a lot of time to sit down and watch. So.
Right. That's how I am about
the platform.
Yeah, and it is, and it's convenient. The conversations are convenient because we can be off cleaning or somebody, a lot of people. So on most given nights, I get about 200 views on the live. Obviously not all at once, but throughout the episode, there'll be 200 views. But then in the week following, I'll get another 500 after it. So I mean, there's legs behind it that people are catching on to. So it's a cool, like I said, it's a cool platform, and it's been really helpful to me, both professionally, but personally. And now I'm like kind of emerging, I'm playing shows again. I got out of daily operations of restaurants. So it's good. What was the fact check? Did the verdict come in?
Yes, it was 2014.
He combined the plants and the snakes. I don't know if you can see
Probably
that.
can't see that. So.
Oh, cool. And not to get too nerdy, that's not a sago palm though, right? That's a palmetto, right?
Yeah, it's a I forget honestly what the actual name of it is. It's Mexican fan palm, I believe. But
Okay.
yeah, it's like a palm. It's kind of like our cabbage palms, but
Yeah.
the leaves actually flat. So.
That I got you. No, that's different than I was thinking of. All right. See, if you're from Florida, you compare your different palms. As you go south, you see different palms. And when I grew up in Jacksonville 30 years ago, what are they? The queen or the royal palms that have the green at the very top before there's the bark and then like the green stretch and then the fronds.
It's that's a king palm.
King palm. They only had those in Miami and South Florida when I was growing up, and now they're like in my neighborhood on the streets, and I've seen.
Oh wow!
Them. We didn't
I'm
have
surprised
those.
They're up that far.
What's that?
I'm surprised they're up that far all the way in Jacksonville. I don't.
Yeah, they're on our medians here, St. Johns County, man.
I guess if you're on the coast, I guess.
Yeah, between the coast and probably some warming and all of that, but anyhow, that's a different show topic. So, hey, anybody new joining us? We got Dale from Constricted Reptiles. And I'm sorry, Dale, it's in DeLand. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, DeLand. So just outside of Daytona. And joining us on the show tonight. Those of y'all that, again, just joining us next week, we got Ryan from Spartan Pythons. Really interesting guy. He's a ball python breeder, and he's really made some huge investments. But this guy has a different channel, which is all about growing cannabis. Speaking of plants, growing cannabis and marijuana. And if you're wondering, Adam, why are you bringing this guy on? That's not even up your alley, because it's not. But he's got 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I think ball pythons and reptiles in general, what USARK is fighting for, or USARK is fighting for, I think we can learn from what the cannabis lobby has accomplished in the past 20 years. If they can normalize marijuana coming out of the 80s war on drugs, we can normalize reptiles as plants. So I want to check out that show, and I'm excited. Ryan will be here from Spartan Python. So check that out next week, guys. Dale, let's talk about some snakes. What are you bullish on? What are you high on these days on like exciting things? What gets you going when I realize the revenue gets you going, but other than revenue, what gets you going on breeding the snakes?
Probably like most other people, kind of gearing towards the double, triple recessive stuff. G-stripe clown stuff. I like that a lot.
Oh, cool. So you just hatched some OD clown pieds that right. I saw on Instagram. I was like, yeah, you had just agreed to be on the show, and it was like the next day I was like, that thing right there. Those are great, man. They're killer. How many of those did you get in? How many visuals did you get in that clutch?
So this year was 2 visuals. They were both males. The original group I actually picked up from my buddy Barry. He's a local guy, and he's a low-key local guy. Like, he makes killer stuff, but he ain't out there at all.
Okay.
So I picked up 1.3 right out of the egg. They hadn't even shed yet.
Wow. Okay.
And they were possible super OD, and they were 100% het clown and 66% het pied.
So you went head to heads and got those?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, man.
Yeah, so this was a couple years back or whatever. So I raised them up, and then last year I actually sent 2 of which I'm pretty sure are the supers, which one proved out. The one that relayed this year laid last year. So I sent 2 of those over to George because he had a visual clown pied at the time, and he didn't have nothing to put it to. And I didn't have a visual clown pied at the time. And so I was like, here, take these 2 girls and breed them to your clown pied male. And then, I could have bred them to which the male most likely is also super OD. And then he's het clown, 66% het pied. But anyways, so during that time period, we go to a USR Florida auction at the Tampa show because they do those after the Tampa show.
Okay, cool.
And there's some drinking involved.
Yeah.
And so they had a clown pied male, and I'm outside talking, and my wife buys it. So anyways, so then we ended up with a clown pied also. But anyways, so that's the clown pied that bred this year that produced those visuals. So that was a visual clown pied to the Super OD double head that had proved that last year. But me and George produced a male and a female last year from that same female.
Yeah.
And he kept the male, and I took the rest of the clutch. So.
Oh, cool. So are you holding those back, or will those be available, or you haven't figured that out yet?
One of them will definitely be available. The other one, I'm not positive. I probably should hold back, but I might let go as well. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so at least one of the males will be a bit available out of that clutch, and then the rest of the clutch will be available. So.
When you're making your breeding plans, do you do like holdback plans as well, or I guess what I'm saying is where does the business end of it meet the man? I love this. I want to do this end of it.
Oh, I hold back way more than I should probably.
Okay, right.
So the majority of my pairings are usually geared towards stuff that I want out of that clutch, and then I sell off the rest of it. There are some that I do that are strictly, I know I'm going to sell the whole clutch type thing.
Sure.
But yeah, the majority of it is, if I would have hit more females, probably would have stayed. So like the OD clown pied female that we hit last year, I'm raising her up. So she's here.
Yeah.
And if one or two of those would have been a girl, if one would have been a girl and one would have been a boy, probably both would be staying. But obviously I don't need two males.
Right, right.
And then also George was like,
well,
we can work something out with the male that's here also. So he's like, if you want to sell it to other male.
Yeah, right. So it's probably easier, like as you get like better and better and better genes or more expensive ones, or however we want to quantify it, like your misses become more valuable though. Too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Your byproduct is actually worth something at that point. But it also every year changes. So, I mean, when I first started, I held back probably every female that I made for the first 2 years.
Okay.
So, and then sold off whatever males I didn't need. But.
And I didn't ask earlier. I almost always start with this question. But what are some stats? How many sort of breeding stock or will be breeding? Like how many snakes are you keeping and do you have right now?
So female wise that could breed this year.
Or just in your inventory. I mean, that you're not planning on selling, I guess is my question.
That I don't plan on selling. Probably 300-ish.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of snakes, man.
Yeah. Probably three something.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure.
And is it the two of you, or just yourself, or who? How do you care for all this?
As far as the snakes go, I actually hired my mom like a year ago.
Cool.
So she works about 32 hours a week, but one of those days is kind of house cleaning and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, man, that's fantastic. That's awesome, man. That's killer.
So she takes care of the rats and snakes within reason during the rest of that time. Yeah.
And do you still breed rats for profit for other people or just for your own feeding needs?
So I breed rats for me. I supply George. Okay. And right now, basically only one other person. Okay. When I originally started, honestly, I thought the profit was going to be in the rats, and it probably could be if you did it. I didn't want to do it. So,
right.
Yeah. So it kind of transitioned. But when I first started, it was kind of like, all right, well, I'll be a rat breeder and I'll just do the little bit of snakes on the side type thing. But yeah, that switched because the rats.
I think the ball pythons are way more fun than the rats.
Oh
too.
yeah.
If you've heard my channel before, man, everybody's like, you got to breed your own. I'm like, nope, no, I don't. I do not.
Oh, it definitely makes a difference when you got a number of animals, but I couldn't afford to not breed them. So
yeah, I kind of say it tongue in cheek, but it actually is what I'm aiming for my business model to be, is that YouTube or Instagram revenue from advertising or sponsorship or brands would cover my feeding overhead is my goal. And I'm not there yet, but actually there's a big chunk of it that'll be covered this year in that. So I joke because last
time consuming just about. So
what's that?
I said, I'm sure it's just about as time consuming. So
well, it is, but also the benefit of, so like half of my inventory last year I sold from viewers on YouTube. So that made the time
platform also.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good community advertising platform that way as well for me. And that's just me on that. So but let's go back to the snakes instead of the rats. Those, and they just happened to catch my eye. I didn't go deep into your Instagram. Those calicos that you just posted, man, those are some of the cleanest, most vivid calicos. Is that just because they're brand new hatchlings, or you happy with your selective breeding and line, or all of it together?
Oh, yeah.
What's up with
those? Those should get better.
Even better.
Yeah, if you go back to last year, the same female, I bred a black pastel lavender to that female, and those came out really nice. So yeah, the female is a inchy calico yellow belly, and I picked her up from a local guy in Daytona. That when I first got into it, we were kind of like all basically, we kind of got in at the same time, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And when he decided to get out, I bought out the majority of his collection, what he had left anyways.
Right.
And that was one of the animals. And yeah, she's fantastic. Like, she's awesome looking.
Yeah, I mean, the oranges are phenomenal in it. And I think I even commented, I was like, is there orange dream in that? I mean, between the pattern reduction and the vivid orange, it's phenomenal, man.
They're double het clown pied, and I think at least two of them are females. So I'm not sure what I'm holding back yet, but definitely going into my OD clown pied stuff. So
yeah, that's cool, man. I think calico is just, it's not that I think it's underrated. I just think I don't think we see it enough. I think that it gets.
You don't. It disappeared for a long time. Nobody was really cared about it or was working with it, but it's starting to make a comeback now.
Yeah, and there's kind of these waves I'm starting to see of, like, recessives take all of the attention, and then somebody comes up with, I don't think these calicos are going to change the market or the industry, but somebody comes up with something that finally that redirects people back and goes, oh yeah, there's all this cool stuff over here. But it kind of builds in almost a built-in diversification in the market, so like one part of it'll slump, but another part of it'll pick up, which is pretty cool.
Well, the problem was when a lot of these genes were coming out years ago, they were coming out so quick that the next big thing would come out. And everybody was jumping, and it was like that's yesterday's news. And so everybody was going to the next thing real quick.
Yeah.
And now everybody's going back, and it's kind of slowed down. Everything, you don't have a new gene popping out every week. So everybody's going back and looking at these genes, and they're starting to work with them again, and they're putting them into the recessives where they never really did it before. You're just trying to stack codoms back in the day. So
yeah.
So now you start stacking calico into clown, and you're realizing it doesn't necessarily make a crazy looking high white calico clown type thing, but the colors are completely different than what we've seen in some of the combos. So it makes a big difference.
That's what I love about, like, the opportunities are literally endless. Like, I don't think we could mathematically cover all the combinations that are possible with just the genes that we know about now, much less all the other, mutations that we're going to discover in the future.
It would take forever.
We did. I had a Mac guy on one time, and like we were like Googling the basically it broke Google. I mean, it was in the trillions of the combination. I mean, you literally every person on the planet could have a world's first, and we still would not cover all of the possibilities. So like it's phenomenal that way.
And now we're stacking recessives. So
right. What's been your strategy on stacking recessives? I heard you say that you know, or that your wife made the decision to buy the to buy. Right. That's one way to get going on the double recessives is to buy the visual male right there. But what would be your recommendation for a breeder that's getting going kind of thing? And sorry, let me say thanks, guys. Thank you all for the rat fund. Like I got this week's rats paid off. Tito, it's going to be a good week. I get to place an order this week from you, man. Thank you, everybody. I'm humbled by that.
I mean, as far as my strategy, I made a lot of my stuff. So the genetic stripe clown stuff, I bred a clown to a super pastel het genetic stripe to get into that project. So it wasn't even like a het to het or a visual to visual pairing. It was a visual to a het.
Yeah.
And nobody cared about genetic stripe at that point. So, and now they do, in clown at least. So it paid off. I made a lot of my double recessive stuff, just breeding a visual to a visual or whatever, instead of going out and buying most of it. The clown pied stuff, to be honest with you, I didn't care about the clown pied stuff when I first got into it. My buddy kind of presented me with that group of animals, and I was like, yeah, clown pie doesn't do a whole lot for me, but orange dream clown stuff is probably going to be cool. Yeah. And so I was like, they're 100% het clown. There's 3 females. So what's the worst that can happen?
You could sell them for a whole lot of money.
So that was kind of my strategy getting into that. And then it kind of just went from there. And then she bought that animal. And as we were raising them up, and then I started, because at that point, clown pies were clown pies. There wasn't much mixed in it. You had a pied with a clown head.
Right. Like, yeah, and it does water. I gotta agree. That combination, it waters down. It's underwhelming considering the work that goes into it. For me, for my 2 cents.
No, I agree. It's the 2 hottest morphs on the market for the most part. But the combo, and I think there's still. I slept on it, so I think there's still stuff that I think it's going to get better.
Have you? I haven't seen any, and I haven't looked. I don't know how much you follow me or no. I have more visual recessives than I do dominance or codoms. So like I've focused almost completely on the recessives and
that's today's market though. That's completely different than what it was back a couple of years ago.
I'm sure, and I say I've focused. This is only my second year breeding, so I'm
recessives are where it's at right now, though. You definitely need codoms in there to add to the recessives, but double, triple, quad recessive, that's where the market's going.
Yeah. Has anybody hit a visual quad yet? Do you know of?
I want to say somebody did, but I don't remember who or what.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody in the audience would know if they did, but it's kind of a race, but again, it's a neat thing that like the combinations are almost literally endless. That what can be accomplished. Jaffe says that yes, somebody's hit one. Anyhow, we can that could be for a different show. Oh, yeah, Con Worker says Justin and Billy. Okay, if I were to have been asked what 2 names that I would think, I would say
combos.
I don't know, guys. Yeah, do you guys know what the combos were on those? Lady Tiz, Keys, and Phil. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. What were the combos on those? Creme de la Clutch says thick caramel clown pied ghost.
Okay.
Yeah, caramel hypo clown pie. Somebody else has confirmed. Forward motion. I have not seen you here before. Thanks for being here tonight and hanging out. So, but that's cool though. And I know. Lady Tiz says Ozzy's got one.
There ain't a lot of them though. So.
No. If we can name who has them, there ain't many of them. You know. So, what about Candy and Candino? What's your feeling on those? I see that you got some. Is it exciting? Is it just an opportunity? Where are you at on it?
So, I mean, as long as I've been in it, I had albino.
Yeah.
And then probably, I don't know, 2 years ago, I guess, I grabbed you already got albino. So it was like, what do you do with it at this point?
Okay.
So I grabbed a candy it was a pastel Candino het clown male because I had a albino clown female and some other albino combo stuff.
Did you hit a Candino clown off of that?
I missed. I got some Candino het clown stuff and I got 2 albino clowns.
That was the look of disappointment. You're like, oh, I missed.
Yeah, but anyways, so I've sold off almost all of my albino and Candino stuff. So
okay.
Nothing. The only thing I actually still have that's not for sale right now is my albino clown female, and I just figured I'd use her as a clown. But,
yeah.
And then I got some hets. I got some double het clown albino combo stuff that I held back, but I'm just kind of using it for what it is on the clown side.
Right.
But yeah, I'm kind of moving out of that. It was one of the projects I decided to drop when I figured. Once you get to a certain point and you don't want to expand, you got to start letting stuff go. And
right. Well, yeah.
Got to make decisions on what to let go. So the albino, even the lavender stuff doesn't do a whole lot for me. Like I still got a lot of lavender stuff. I feel like it's limited. And so I figured I've got albino / Candino and lavender stuff. So let me drop the lavender or the albino and Candino stuff and then see what happens with the lavender stuff. But honestly, I'll probably in a couple of years maybe move out of the lavender stuff too. I'm not real sure.
I like, for myself, I like candy a whole lot, and I don't see many people working with it, and it doesn't seem like it's been tested out in a whole lot of different ways. The challenge is,
be honest with you, it's hard to move in the market.
Yeah, I'm seeing some of that as well too. There's a limited number of guys out there with it. Here's a question that was posed to me, and it actually has got me thinking. I did those of y'all that know Steven at Leviathan Snakes. He and I are working on a video series of at least 2 videos, but maybe a couple more that we'll release on each other's channels and that kind of thing. But he knows me as kind of the recessive guy in our sort of group or our clique or whatever. And he was like, what would be the one gene, if you could get a hold of it, that you would just breed through all of your visual females? And you know, you could be like the new guy on the scene that, boom, you don't have, this just arrived and you want Candy het, brand new gene, Axanthic het, brand new gene, you know, or excuse me, new gene het Axanthic, new gene.
Like
what dominant trait right now excites you that you would consider doing that with?
So a dominant or a codominant gene?
Yeah. And sorry, I use those interchangeably. I'm exhausted by the debate. I just use them both. It's yeah.
I don't even know. There's that one. I think it's I don't really know that much about it, but it looks interesting. I think it's like the Cosmo or something.
Oh, okay.
Like these.
I don't know. I think
that's what it is. I haven't looked. Like I said, I haven't looked that far into it because honestly, I'm not really looking to add that much at the moment. So I haven't really looked at a lot of stuff. But
well, let's come back around this way then. You work with acid. You have a picture of an acid clown on your Instagram. Is that yours?
Yeah, I've produced. I think I've only produced 2 now, a male and a female.
Yeah. How do you
I have
see? Is acid still a pretty new, like unexplored frontier?
There's still a lot to do with it. I mean, as far as getting into recessives, there's not a lot of people that have done certain things with it. The acid clown's caught on pretty quick, so they're taking off. I have a black acid clown that's ovulated from nothing crazy, but a leopard vanilla clown. So I'm hoping to get something decent out of that to hold back.
That could produce a whole lot of things that haven't been done before, right? That'd be all new stuff.
Well, I mean, not a lot, but yeah, because I think a lot of that combo's been done. But getting the vanilla into the acid clown, I don't think's been done. So
right,
with a vanilla acid clown combo with black pastel or leopard or something like that, I think that'd be fairly new. I think Jason did a black pastel leopard acid. Clown.
I want to be sitting on a porch with a candle going one day and just chill about. Yeah, that'll be cool if I can. If I just hit an acid leopard clown.
Yeah, no, I'm
awesome,
pretty excited about that one.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, other stuff. Hopefully, I hatched out some acid genetic stripe stuff. That was a project with Travis Wyman, and so I got some more shots at some visuals on that this year.
How? Sorry, since you brought up Travis, and I'm sorry, am I thinking right? He's got like a doctorate in genetics. Is that the same guy?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. He's great on the morph market community, man. I don't see him anywhere else, but on the morph market community, he's fantastic, man.
Yeah, he's on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, he's under Snakes and Bake.
Snakes and Bake.
And I don't do too much Facebook, so I kind of.
Yeah. How big is? I mean, not to go totally sideways. He's just always interested me. He's an interesting guy and super knowledgeable.
He doesn't do a whole lot. He's got a small collection.
Yeah.
I don't know him super well, honestly. I actually didn't even know him until Josh, which is Josh Jensen, the one who originated the acid gene.
Okay.
Me and Josh are really good friends. I've known Josh way before the acid and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how I met Travis. And I've actually only met Travis one time in person.
Yeah. Is he in Florida here as well or not?
Travis, no. He's
no.
up north. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so you talked about genetic stripe some earlier. What are you excited to get? I know you're working with genetic stripe clown. What are you trying to get into that, or where do you see that going?
I mean, I'm working the genetic stripe clown. I've got hopefully have some more genetic stripe acid stuff this year. The genetic stripe clown, I'm trying to work that into to Desert Ghost and to Xanthic, and then also try and get acid into the G-stripe clown stuff and stuff like that. So trying to push that project forward. That's one of the more projects that like excite me the most.
Yeah,
kind of because it's barely even been tapped into at this point.
There's a buzz out there about it. I bought another guy's operation, same kind of thing you were describing earlier. A breeder I bought from before and became friends with, and then he got a promotion and had to move, and basically he just said, "I'm getting
right."
It. But he had a male and a female blackhead het genetic stripe.
I heard you talking about that.
Yeah, they're breeding.
If you make some supers.
Yeah, those are the ones that are like everybody's like, yeah, sign me up. I want one of those, man. So there's a buzz out there about them for sure.
Yeah, genetic stripe's another one that's kind of, and there's some limitations to genetic stripe, but there's limitations to everything for the most part.
Yeah.
But it was one of those genes that was kind of skipped over, and nobody tried putting it with another recessive for one. It's been done with lavender, and again, lavender I personally think is limited. There's only so far you can go out on that color palette type thing. But hopefully this coming year I'll have shots at some, it's been done, but Ultramel genetic stripe stuff. I plan on eventually getting that into the G-stripe clown stuff also. So trying to push the G-stripe clown stuff forward.
Yeah, I'm excited to add that recessive because there's not. I mean, there's a few that I would like, but that just aren't reality. Like I'm not going to go out and buy a visual. I'm not in a position to go out and buy a visual sunset tomorrow kind of thing. It's not probably not going to happen. If I hang out with Steven long enough. What's that?
Sunset doesn't do a whole lot for me.
Yeah.
I almost got into it. I don't even know how many years ago it was now, but I almost did a trade on it, and the trade just didn't work out. So we couldn't come to an agreement on exactly what, and so
right.
I passed it. Honestly, it doesn't bother me at this point. So
no, and I mean, and everybody like. I don't have it, and it's not a reality in my world at the moment. I think it's cool, but I don't know where there is to go with it, and I don't have enough drive and insight to want to find out at the moment. So, but I was happy to add genetic stripe, and that was in that collection that I bought, so I kind of inherited it. But an Ultramel breeder female, I'll have double het pied Ultramels this year.
nice.
So.
I just kind of got into that project last year. I picked up a male and a female Ultramel pied. So.
Do you see Ultramel as something that's good to put on top of other things, or is it kind of in its own project? Like I hear a lot of people that like Desert Ghost on top of other things. Is that something how you see Ultramel, or you see Ultramel as kind of its own standalone base?
I mean, it depends. I don't have a ton of Ultramel stuff. I have a small shot at acid Ultramels this year, so I'm hoping for that. But
yeah.
As far as the Ultramel hide stuff, I'll probably try and work that into my clown hide stuff. Again, I don't have any desire to get that into some recess. I don't think it's going to do that great with Xanthic or with Desert Ghost, or I'm not looking to do any of that. Maybe Hypo, but it's still not. Even Hypo Ultramelts, they're okay, but they're not like crazy. In my opinion,
I would think with the dark blacks of Astid, that would be a killer thing with Ultramel. I mean, you get a lot of those purples come through. I mean, it seems like
Justin,
an exaggeration.
Justin made a Confusion one, so we kind of know what it's going to look like. He made a Confusion Ultramel, and he made a Confusion Yellow Belly Ultramel. So I'm just, as far as I know, he's the only other one he's the only one at this point that's made one. I could be wrong, but
I've got my homework to go look up that now. Then
yeah, it's on his page. It's and it's in one of his videos too.
Yeah. Cool. I will check that out.
They're cool. So fingers crossed on that one.
So we just passed the 1 hour mark. We were just up around 50 viewers. It's awesome. I mean, I still can't get my head around like 50 people come hang out. So seriously, thank you everybody. It's really cool. If you in the audience have questions you want to pose to Dale or myself, or things you want us to talk about, let us know. We got a little while still to go. We'll be at it for a little bit, but we don't do the 2 or 3 or 5 hour grinds on this show. So put out some topics if you guys want to cover anything. Dale, what's the next show that you're going to be at? What's your schedule like and coming up?
Tampa in 2 weeks.
Tampa 2 weeks.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the is that the 10th and the 11th?
I don't even know what the date is. I just know it's 2 weeks from this past weekend. So probably.
No, it must be the 27th and 28th then, huh? I might actually be able to make that one then.
Maybe not then. Maybe.
There was a show in Tampa not too long ago that I was actually going to go to with Jeremy Bod, but I had gigs that weekend. But
I'm not. Yeah, I'd have to look on my phone, but I'm on my phone, so right now.
Is that
it's whatever the Tampa Repticon is. So
yeah, I'll Google that. I might.
Thought it was 2 weeks, but
I might be there. Jeremy, Jeremy Bod, what's the date on that, man? 11th and 12th. Yeah, that is the one. No, I have gigs. That was the one I was gonna try and go work with Jeremy, or try and find somebody that would let me just work and experience the show. I don't want to sell any of my own animals, just put me to work kind of thing. But no, I got
hang
kids
out at my table.
What's that?
If you can come hang out at my table.
That's what I'm saying. I'm seriously, that's the best way that I learn. I in my restaurant career, that's how okay, you want to go from the dish pit to the prep room? Well, you volunteer to slice the onions. They'll teach you how to use a slicer if you'll slice their onions for them, kind of thing, and then suddenly you start learning. So plus it's cool, and I just enjoy the scene. So no, I can't be at that one, but you'll be vending at Daytona, right? Yeah, I'll definitely be at Daytona hanging out. And my wife and son are coming. We're staying overnight.
Yeah, we'll be there last weekend. I think we're coming in on Thursday. So
yeah, we'll just be
it's
there.
right down the road.
What's that?
Even though it's right down the road, it's an event.
Yeah, it is an event. Plus, you don't want to truck back and forth. No, just stay and hang out, right? I mean,
yeah.
You were talking about having some beverages earlier. I've got to imagine there's some serious beverages flowing in Daytona.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
And it's going to be huge this year. He added it's 2 rooms this year. He added like 60 to 100 more tables in the next room, plus the art shows back. So it's going to be
40,000 more square feet. Yeah. You got anything like that you're like unveil? Not that you would unveil it on the show if you hadn't unveiled it, but is there any big like unveil things coming down the pipeline, or what are you expecting big on your clutches this year?
Yeah, nothing like crazy. I mean, just hoping to hit the odds on some stuff. It's like I said, hopefully some acid ultramels, hopefully some acid G stripes, some more G stripe clowns.
You got acid G stripes in the works?
What's that?
You have acid G stripes in the works?
Oh yeah, I got some stuff in the clutch or in the incubator for that. So
man, killer.
Maybe possibly a super OD Inchy Clown Pied, maybe.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
So, and does the Enchi, when Clown's in the mix, does Enchi do the same thing on Pied, reduces the white so you can get more of the effects?
Gives a lot more pattern usually.
Cool. Yeah, that would be great, man. What early on in the show, Jeremy Baudet asked, had you broken ground yet? Tell us about first whatever he's talking about, and then what facility do you work out of, man?
I mean, so right now my reptiles are in my house still.
So you got 300 snakes in the house.
Yeah. So our house is kind of weird. It's it was built in the 70s, and it was originally just an upstairs. It was on stilts, and then they came in and closed in the entire downstairs. So it's got like 2 living rooms, and it's kind of different. So the snakes are kind of the second living room / wood den or whatever you would call it. So they're not in the living space like of where we basically the kids rooms and stuff are by them and stuff. So we don't really use that area for anything else. And then the rodents are at my wife's grandparents' house, which is about 20 minutes from our house, which is actually directly between where we're building our house. So they're in a 24 by 27 square foot building, or whatever, not square foot, but anyways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was converted from what originally was a pole barn. We came in, we closed in the sides and all that kind of stuff, put fans and stuff in. So, but anyways, so I think it's been 2.5 or 3 years ago, we bought 13.6 acres or something, about 10 minutes from our house and on a lake. So we finally started breaking ground this past year. It's taken It's taken forever. So the pad is set up. It's we did the loan, so we got approved for the loan and all that kind of stuff for the construction. The property was paid off like a year ago. So that's
Cool.
into the loan stuff.
And
But,
so what's the plan there? A house and a reptile facility, or just a house that you
Yeah.
still hold?
Yeah, no. So yeah, the well was put in this past week, so we're starting to move forward finally. So once we get the house done there, it'll be a 3-car garage. So I'm gonna move the snakes into part of that temporarily.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna sell the house that we're in now, which we own outright, and then we're gonna take that money and we're gonna throw that into the building and hopefully a pool and stuff.
Cool.
So that's the plan anyways.
Nice. Congratulations. It's just awesome to be able to dream about that kind of stuff. And like, I think we're relatively the same age. I think you've got, a family kind of similar to mine. And to get to that point where we can say those sorts of dreams out loud is just so amazing, man. Wonderful.
Definitely.
What other topics you want to cover? What did I miss? What have I like? What have my journalistic skills failed on?
I mean, as far as I know, I don't know.
What do you? I got one other topic here. What do you see on the current market? Obviously, our economy is at least in change. I'm not going to say whether it's good or bad. Everybody is relative for everybody, but markets are down sharply. I think we maybe are even technically in bear market territory. I'm not sure. Are you seeing any effect yet on our hobby or breeders in it, or any ripples from that yet, or still too early to know?
I mean, I definitely noticed that morph market is slow compared to the usual. But
Yeah.
you also got to think about last year was crazy insane.
Right.
COVID made the market just super.
Yeah. Speaking of uncertainty, I mean, that didn't slow the economic uncertainty, did not slow down the hobby uncertainty.
Yeah, it made the hobby insane last year. Like, you could not keep anything on morph market. So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely kind of slow right now, from what I've seen, anyways, on morph market.
Yeah.
Shows are still decent. I haven't noticed really a dip in shows for the most part.
Cool.
So, I think the people who are going to invest are going to invest, and it kind of tiers. So you got your people that come in on the low end, which are feeding the people that are coming in buying towards the medium end, and then so on. So it's hard to say what it's really going to do, because your people on the low end are usually going to be the more people that are affected right off the bat.
Right. And I think it's like any industry in that way, that it's going to squeeze like you say, not even necessarily, I mean, generally the lower end, but really the people, it's going to squeeze you if you're over leveraged and you got debt that you have to service.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, your people that are living paycheck to paycheck are not going to be able to go buy those snakes. And then your people who are in kind of the next tier that maybe they're making a decent money off of those people, but they're not set up well enough to sustain a little while, like without that income, it might affect them.
Yeah.
Type thing. But if you're okay for a little while without the same amount of money coming in, like you might be able to go a month without something compared to then I think you'd be all right. But
well, and for people that are investing, there's also opportunity there when the market comes down.
You're exactly right. If you're in the buy.
Yeah. It's the same thing with the stock market. You know, if everybody else is running and getting out, man, that's when I'm usually, I mean, I don't root for a recession, but I made a lot of money in the last recession from just staying steady, not being predatory, but just continuing to buy no matter how far down it went, just staying on.
I agree. And I mean, I've been doing this long enough now to see where it's dipped before and everybody jumped out, and people who stayed in are doing great.
There it is. Yeah.
So
stay the course and stay with it. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Dale, I really, really appreciate you being on the show. I always say I'm not going to drag anything out, man. I think it's been a great show. Audience, I really appreciate you being here. We got up to 50 people tonight. Special thanks to Phil at Finger Snakes BP. Keys Constrictors, and Lady Tiz Exotics. Y'all are incredibly generous. Thank you so much for contributing to the Rat Fund. Next week, we got Ryan from Spartan Pythons and his other YouTube channel. Welcome to the Grow Tent is the name of it. 50,000 subscribers. We're going to talk about the reptile hobby and or reptile hobby industry, and cannabis and marijuana hobby and lobby and industry as well. Really, really interesting, down to earth guy. Knows his stuff, and I'm really excited to hang out with Ryan next week. Go see Dale in Tampa on the 11th and 12th of June at Repticon there, and check out his morph market and Instagram. Links are down below in the description, so you can go check out Dale at Constricted Reptiles is the brand name on that. Maybe I should have plugged that a little more. I kept calling you Dale, and so, you know.
All right.
Constricted Reptiles is the brand. Thank you all, everybody that new viewers that checked it out. I saw a lot of you all tonight. I didn't get to everybody. I'm not great with all the, the shout outs and the hype stuff, but I appreciate it. Every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Proper Royals channel. We will be here. Until next time, Dale, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you being here. I feel really bad. Do you want to introduce the fact checker?
Oh, no. She went inside.
She went inside. All right. Well, pass on my thanks. I look forward to meeting in person over some beverages.
Yeah, we'll
certainly
see you
in August, maybe before then, man.
Yep, Daytona definitely. Or
all
before.
right. Cool.
I appreciate you having me.
What's that?
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Oh, my pleasure, man. Anytime that I'd love to have you back again, and we'll definitely do it again soon. I hope, and I love you too. So when you get some new animals, we'll check it out, man.
All right.
All right, Dale, thank you so much. Audience, thank you so much. New video on Thursday. I will see you all next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks. That's all I can say. Thank you. Somewhere we got some music. Here we go.